So today I'll be talking about land banking, the benefits, the risks involved, and whether land banking is really worth it as an investor. Now, if you watch till the end of this video, I'm going to be sharing with you a secret that can help you multiply your income within the next 90 days in 2024. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Ekene Medichi, your favorite real estate expert based here in the city of Asaba. So today we'll be talking about a very important model in the real estate sector called land banking. Now, it's a word that is already flying around, and I'm very certain and sure that you've heard of it as an investor or as a consultant. So I will be diving right in on the basics of land banking. So what is land banking? Land banking is a system whereby instead of keeping that cash, that liquid cash in your bank account, and it is losing value and purchasing power every single day because of inflation, you take that money and then you put it into a system called lands. Now, lands are portion of the earth that every single individual requires. How do I mean? Remember, Nigeria is a population of 230 million people. It is expected by 2050, which is 26 years from now, Nigeria will be a population of 400 million people. Guess what? 400 million people would need shelter within the next 26 years. Where would that 400 million people stay? They can't stay on air. They can't live on water. So they would need to live on land. So the system called land banking simply means you now take that money and you buy an invaluable asset, an asset that never depreciates, and you store that money in lands. Then you keep stacking it up. Because most times when people hear about land banking, they think it's just buying 1 or 2 plots of land. No. Land banking simply means that you keep buying plots of land within emerging locations, areas that have huge potential for growth in a particular region or a particular state. So let me dive right in. What are the risks involved in land banking? Number one risk involved in land banking is that it is not a short-term investment. Now, a lot of people don't know about this. People buy a land. So that's why somebody will tell you that, don't worry, within 6 months, you can sell off this land that you bought just last 2 months for 550,000 naira. Now, it is possible that you can sell it after 6 months for a profit of maybe 150,000 or 200,000. But the real essence of land banking is that it is not a short-term investment. So it's not something that you can start flipping money immediately. Unless you are buying developed locations with the plan to flip on the long run. That one is called land flipping, not land banking. That's number one. It is not a short-term investment. Number two, it is highly illiquid. Now, what is illiquidity? Liquidity simply means you can't just buy a land today and then tomorrow you want to sell it immediately and then you get a buyer. Sometimes it takes a period of time. Sometimes it can take a week, it can take some days, sometimes it can take a month, depending on the location. So when it comes to land banking, remember you are buying emerging locations at a rate between 750,000 naira to 3 million naira. So those kind of lands will take a while to develop in that particular location and then also appreciate very well in price. I was watching a video yesterday and Apostle Emmanuel Iron shared a story of a land they wanted to buy for a project, and when they did their due diligence, they saw that the owner, the old man who owned it, bought that location for 250,000 and they were negotiating at 4 billion naira. Now that is the power of land banking. It was no longer the man self that was negotiating, it was his own children that was negotiating on behalf of the original owner. That is what land banking can do for you, but it is not liquid. It's not something you can just buy and sell immediately. So that is another risk involved with land banking. Then the third risk involved in land banking is that it requires you to be patient. Now we are in a generation whereby people don't love to be patient with anything at all. But when it comes to land banking strategy, patience is a virtue that you must have. You can't just buy a land and then you want to flip it in 6 months. You need to have a long-term view to sell within the next 5 years, 10 years. Most times when investors buy into our land banking products for as little as 750,000 naira here in Asaba and Port Harcourt, I always tell them, hold for 5 years. That is the barest minimum. Hold for 5 years and see the wonders of land banking. Now, I also advise on the long run, there are lands I bought as far back as 2017. Till now, I'm still holding. I don't have any plans to sell within the next 10 years. Because what? Why? I understand land banking. These are lands I bought for as little as 350,000, 400,000. Those locations right now are worth at least 5 to 6 million naira. But I am still willing to hold for the next 10 years. After 10 years, it can be worth 100 million, 50 million naira within that range. And if I'm able to hold for 30 years, I think you know what it can become. So those are the risks involved with land banking. Now, this is the benefits of land banking. Number one, land banking can make you wealthy for a lifetime. Remember I shared with you a story of a man that bought somewhere for 250,000. Today is worth 4 billion. You know, so there is a lot of, like, I've met a lot of people who inherited lands. Their parents bought it for as little as 20,000 naira, and when they decided to sell, we're selling those locations for as high as 80 to 90 million. So if you do land banking the right way, it will make you wealthy for your lifetime. Number two benefit of land banking, it is the easiest and the surest way to pass wealth to the next generation. So it's not like, I love shares and stocks. I do shares and stocks also on the side. But I found out that most times when you pass on, if you do not educate your children about shares and stocks, they might end up not knowing the value of what they have. But once you buy a portion of land, and you take possession and you fence it, and you get all appropriations from the state government or from the federal government if you are buying in federal capital territory, what happens is that it is easy for the kids or the next generation to see that asset that you bought. It is there. It doesn't move. And because time is your advantage, that's the third benefit. Because time is an advantage in land banking, it will keep growing in value. It is not the building on a land that appreciates. It is the land that appreciates. So I hear people condemn our forefathers, our great-grandfathers and our grandfathers that built 4-story and 5-story buildings in Onitsha. But what they don't understand is that at the end of the day, even if the building is no longer valuable, the cost and the value of that land will keep going up in price. So one thing you must understand is that land banking is the system on which every other wealth is built upon. So the factories you see, the companies you see, guess where they are all built on? They are built on land. Yes, technology has come on board, but at the end of the day, they still need those robots or those humans that work in this company to come to either an office or to work on ground. So that ground is the land. So this is why the land as a system would always remain valuable. And that's why land banking, 2,000 years before Jesus was born, people were already trading and selling lands. 2,000 years after Jesus has left, people are still buying and selling lands. So it is something that can never be stopped. So now, as I've mentioned those benefits, how do you now get started in land banking? You can get started in land banking by looking for lands in emerging locations, in developed or developing cities. Cities like Abuja, Lagos, Asaba, which is the entertainment hub, and it's one of the biggest cities for young people right now. Enugu, these are commercial centers. So if you would love to get started here in Asaba or in Enugu, you can call me on the number showing on your screen, 0812 91 55782. Let me guide you on the process. We have lands starting from as little as 1.5 million naira upwards. And remember, I told you about land banking. You don't just buy once and stop. You keep accumulating. So if you've bought before, I should be on a call with you right now to help you acquire more. And if you are new to land banking system, you should give me a call right now. Let's talk about helping you to acquire land. immediately, starting from as little as 1.5 million. So until I come your way again, this is Ekene Medichi, your reliable real estate expert based here in the city of Asaba. Do have a lovely day.